Well, welcome back to our third part of our video series on the National Sheep Improvement Program as part of a Northeast SARE project. Again, I'm Rusty Burgett, the NSIP Program Director. In our last couple of videos, we talked about the importance of NSIP and the power of estimated breeding values to be utilized in genetic selection decisions. So what I want to answer in this video is the big question I always get is, does it work? So what I want to show you is some real world examples of flocks that have utilized NSIP and some of the genetic progress they've made over the last several years. And then we have a commercial flock that's been utilizing NSIP genetics, and we can see the impact that it's had in a commercial operation relative to a seed stock operation. So first thing I want to show you is some of the genetic progress of some of our commonly used breeds in NSIP. So one of those being the Targees. Okay? So if you look at some of the progress that we've made over the last 10 or so years in the Targhee breed, so just looking at the 10-year time span between about 2005 to about 2016, if you look at the number of lambs born, estimated breeding value, okay, this is the genetic potential for prolificacy. We can see that over a 10-year time period, the Targees were able to increase number of lambs born by 9%. And again, this is just the genetic potential. So by simply by choosing which rams are mated to which ewes, they've been able to increase number of lambs born by 9%. That's not changing anything on the management. That's not feeding those animals any extra. That's simply increasing the genetic potential through selective breeding. So not only have they been able to increase number of lambs born, they've also been able to increase the growth potential of their lambs by increasing their genetic potential for weaning weight by about 2.25 pounds. Since our Targees are a fine wool breed, they've also been able to increase grease fleece weight while maintaining fiber diameter. Okay, now this is an interesting little set of data here because these are generally positively correlated traits, but in a negative manner. Generally, as you increase grease fleece weight, you also increase fiber diameter, which is not a good thing. We want to maintain or decrease our fiber diameter. By utilizing the estimated breeding values, these breeders have been able to find those outlier rams, find which ones have the genetic potential for increased fleece weight while maintaining their fiber diameter. Now, if we combine all of these different traits into one easy to use number or a production index, okay, we can see a similar trend in the overall genetic potential through that Western Range Index. We're going to talk about production indexes in our live sessions. So if we just do some back of the envelope math and we look at the increase in number of lambs born, the increase in growth potential, the increased mothering ability of that flock, and increased fleece weights, we can see over a 10-year time span, the Targhee breed was able to increase about 11 pounds of marketable products off of their flocks. So just through genetic selection alone, marketing 11 pounds more product on the average ewe, which is pretty outstanding. Another breed that we could take a peek at is our polypays. So over a similar 10-year time period, polypays were able to increase number of lambs weaned by 15%, while also increasing the growth rate of those lambs by about 3.75 pounds, while also through maternal weaning weight, increasing the mothering ability of the ewes. So we do some similar back of the envelope math in a 10-year time span here. The average polypay flock is able to wean and market 12 pounds more lamb than they were 10 years prior. Okay, so in 10 years, just by which rams they mated with which ewes, using these EBVs, increased the saleable pounds of lamb at weaning time by 12 pounds, which is pretty remarkable. Looking on the terminal sire side, using Suffolks as an example, similar trends. Suffolks have been able to increase their growth potential while also increasing eye muscle and decreasing fat deposition. Looking at Katahdins, very similar trends. Increasing number of lambs born and their weaning rates, also increasing the growth potential and their mothering ability. An interesting one, though, that they've been able to do is also increasing their parasite resistance. Okay, so this is a trait where you actually want a negative number or a low number. Okay, So not only were they able to increase the prolificacy and mothering ability and growth potential, they were also able to increase parasite resistance or decrease their fecal egg counts. So if we do again some back of the envelope math, not even factoring in the parasite resistance, Katahdins over a 10-year time period increased by about 6 pounds their output per ewe just through genetic selection alone. Okay? Now you factor in the parasite resistance there, um, and you can compound the productivity increases there. It's decreased labor, decreased cost and chemical dewormers. Um, all around, we can utilize these tools to make a more productive, more profitable, more sustainable sheep flock. So we're going to shift gears a little bit and talk about a commercial flock. Okay? These, the ones I just presented, were all purebred seed stock flocks. In a commercial flock, we're going to utilize um, a ranch in central Utah. It's the Mickle Brothers sheep operation. In their 2016 lambing season, they really wanted to take a look to see if these estimated breeding values were going to work. So they had just a conventional Western white-faced ewe, Rambouillet based, and they bred half of a band of ewes to NSIP Suffolks, so Suffolks that were selected based on these estimated breeding values. They bred the other half of that band of ewes to Suffolks that they bought up through their conventional methods. So they didn't have estimated breeding values on them. They just bought Suffolk rams, how they have always done it, through ram sales and private treaty. With that, it was about 550 ewes per group. They had took about 17 rams per group to cover all those 550 ewes. They were managed as one band before and after, so we know that there weren't environmental differences. We're simply looking at the genetic differences in the sires of these lambs. Okay, so again, these are Western white-faced ewes being bred to Suffolks, so we're going to get a brockle-faced lamb out of these. They're all going to be terminal lambs. They shed lambed the multiple births, and they range lambed all of their singles. This is just a little bit of an image that shows what what the operation looked like. This is a photo that I took while out there in Utah. The data collection came at shipping time. Just real simple. Weighed the lambs as they were getting shipped off in the fall time, and compared that to the sire that they came from. So, as I mentioned, they were all grazed in one permit as one band, so no environmental differences. At weaning time, the lambs were sorted. So all the lambs from the conventional sires went one way, all the lambs from NSIP sires went the other way. Those lambs were weighed. Lambs from conventional sires at shipping time averaged 102 pounds. The lambs from NSIP sires averaged 105 pounds. Okay, so we have a 3 pound advantage in weaning weight. Because those animals were selected based off their estimated breeding values. Okay, all managed the exact same, just which rams you mated with which ewes came up with a 3 pound advantage. Now that might not sound like a whole lot, but if you look at the value of that pound of lamb at about $1.44 per pound when the study was conducted, that was an additional $4.32 per lamb. If you look at it on a ram basis, each ram with estimated breeding values brought in over $100 in additional revenue to that operation. Okay, so just by you selecting on estimated breeding values, those rams made an additional $100 to that operation. Okay, so I just want to take this a step further. The average weaning weight of those NSIP Suffolks, okay, if those lambs had a 3 pound advantage, what do you think the average EBV of those Suffolks was at the time of those joinings? Okay. Well, if we look back, it was actually about a 3.3 pound average weaning weight estimated breeding value. So those lambs performed exactly like the EBV said they were going to do. Okay, they said that they're going to be 3 pounds advantage. They actually turned out to be a 3 pound advantage at weaning time. Okay. Another thing I wanted to point out here is that 3.3 weaning weight estimated breeding value. Is that a good EBV? Well, at the time of the study, that was about the current breed average. Okay, so those were average weaning weight EBVs in the Suffolk breed on NSIP. The current breed average, it's right around 4.25 pounds. So the Suffolk breed average has increased since then through genetic selection of the flocks participating in NSIP. So This brings up a couple points is that we're able to make genetic progress utilizing these tools. Okay. Another point, though, is that just because an animal has EBVs doesn't make it a good one. Okay. We have to actually look at what those estimated breeding values are. We need to know what the breed averages are so we know if we're selecting a good ram or a poor ram. Okay. So just because these suffix were not on NSIP, that doesn't make them a better sheep. They were selected because they had a certain set of EBVs that were going to be profitable for their sheep operation. So to learn a little bit more about this and how we can actually put these tools into practice on your operation, I encourage you to join us for our live workshops. We're going to get more in depth into what these EBVs actually are, how you can utilize them on a day-to-day basis in your operation. So join us for the live workshops. You can also get some more information at www.nsip.org. And you can also check us out on Facebook or on YouTube. And there's my email address. If you have any particular questions before we get to the live workshops, you can either bring them to the workshop or shoot them to me in an email in advance, and we'll make sure we get those answered during our workshop sessions. Thank you very much.